A landmark moment for Nigeria's armed forces as the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Gwabi Musa, uploads a new book aimed at strengthening discipline, accountability, and the rule of law within the military. It was a historic day for Nigeria's military justice system as top officers, legal experts, and members of the public gathered here in Abuja for the official launch of a groundbreaking book titled Justice in the Armed Forces, Law and Practice. The book, authored by retired senior officer Colonel Ukpe, provides a comprehensive look into the laws, processes, and reforms guiding discipline and justice in the armed forces.
It is with immense pleasure and a deep sense of honor that we gather here today.
In his keynote address, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Gwabi Musa, praised the book as a beacon of knowledge that will deepen understanding of military justice and promote transparency within the armed forces.
His decision to articulate this invaluable experience and knowledge into a comprehensive text is commendable. The book's focus on justice and the armed forces, law and practice is particularly timely and relevant in an area where transparency, accountability, and adherence to human rights are paramount, considering consideration for any modern military. You know, there will always continue to be this argument about the military and the law. When you are dealing with a set of individuals that their lives are at stake and they're having to deal with human rights at the same time, there's always going to be conflicts. Because for the military man, his ability to stay alive depends on the action he takes or does not take. The human right has the protection of law. And so, for instance, now in asymmetric warfare, you are dealing with non-state actors. If they don't carry bear arms, they're not combatants. You are there, you are bearing arms, you are wearing uniform, you are known, you don't know them. The same person you clear, you say he's a non-combatant, is the same person that will turn around and pick the weapon he has hidden somewhere and shoot you from behind. And your ability to stay alive depends. And then the law protects you, comes after you because you are bound by human rights. He is not bound by it because he does not obey any law. So there's always going to be that conflict between the military and non-state actors. And these are conditions that we have to look at how we're going to pray to also protect the military man for doing his job, his lawful duties. Because if he's not protected, he will not be willing to commit himself because he's afraid that after service, the systems will come after him and there will be nobody to protect him. And the system will suffer for it. So it's always very good that we strike a balance between the military and the non-state actors and their conducts in the war. Because most of the decisions are split-second decisions. A little delay, he could be dead. Whatever action he needs to take needs to be quick, needs to be constant, and needs to be deliberate.
The 400-page publication examines key aspects of military justice, including investigation, court-martial processes, and discipline procedures. General Musa urged both legal and non-legal personnel to study the work and document their own experiences for future generations.
This work delves into the foundational principles of military justice, exploring the various statutes, regulations, and conventions that underpin its operation in Nigeria. It provides a practical guide for both legal practitioners and non-legal personnel within the military. Such a detailed exposition is invaluable for ensuring that justice is not only done but also seen to be done, thereby fostering trust and confidence within the ranks and amongst the civilian populace. Most importantly, it will improve discipline in a system like ours, which is founded on strict principles.
Retired Colonel Ukpe, who served for decades in the Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force, called for urgent reforms, including harmonizing outdated rules of procedure and ensuring fair treatment of accused personnel. He also recommended that military legal officers take a more active role in court-martial trials to enhance professionalism and accountability.
I've served in the military for 35 years, and a greater part of these years I spent in dispensing justice in the Nigerian Armed Forces. And in the process, I discovered there were some gaps and lacunas. So I felt it was better to bring this lacuna or this observation into a single document so that for the purpose of improving the legal delivery of the Nigerian military. Our colleagues we are leaving behind will study it the necessary amendment recommendation we have made, if they are infected, will obviously improve the legal system in the Nigerian military. That is my purpose, to do that as my contribution or further contribution to the military, which have benefited a lot for serving 35 years. The position I am today is the military that gave me the shoulder to climb. So I am ready, ever ready, even when I am outside, anytime I am called upon to come and assist the military in terms of legal delivery, I am ready.
Done a very good work in that respect, but we still advocate, like I did, to make sure that there are certain amendments as far as the military law and practice is concerned. A situation whereby the 1972 rules of procedure still forms a cornerstone upon which military trials are done is absurd, because even in the UK, that law has been amended in the year 2024. So it then means either there is no willingness to make our laws to be in tandem with what is obtainable in other jurisdictions, or we are not yet aware. So I think this type of book offers the opportunity for us to look inward about our criminal justice system in general.
The event concluded with a ceremonial unveiling of the book, which will be distributed to military libraries, training schools, and defense institutions nationwide. With Nigeria's armed forces playing a crucial role in addressing the nation's security challenges, experts say this book could help build a more disciplined, transparent, and accountable military. The new publication is expected to serve as a vital source for lawyers, military officers, and anyone involved in strengthening justice and professionalism in Nigeria Armed Forces. In the meantime, in a historic step to preserve Nigeria's military legacy, the Armed Forces of Nigeria has signed a landmark agreement with development partners to establish a world-class Armed Forces Museum. The museum, set to open in January 2026, will celebrate the courage and sacrifices of Nigeria's military heroes, past and present. Today marks a defining moment for Nigeria's armed forces as top military leaders and stakeholders came together to sign a memorandum of understanding for the construction of the nation's first fully integrated Armed Forces Museum. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Gwabi Musa, described the project as a legacy initiative aimed at honoring fallen heroes and preserving the country's rich military heritage.
Between the Armed Forces of Nigeria and our partners for the construction of the Armed Forces of Nigeria Museum, Abuja. Well, we know the importance of museum, keeping history. If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going to. So it's incredible. And mostly when you travel around the world, you see countries have museums where they present themselves. We have some few, but we want to make sure that we have one that will be very elaborate, that will really, really represent the Armed Forces of Nigeria, bring back Nigeria to the international standard, and specifically be a pride to all members of the armed forces and our families, so that we don't even forget those, our heroes that have passed, who have sacrificed so much. So it's my prayer that this will happen in the shortest possible time. It will take time because it will build up a lot. And to gather all these things is not going to be easy. We're going to meet and make sure that we bring people from both within and outside, so that we make sure it is of international standards. We don't want to produce anything that's mediocre. And for all of us here, it is a challenge for all of us. It's our own museum. So we always go, read wide, think wide. Anything you think that can add value to it, it's always open. I'm sure when they open a website, there will be where people can bring suggestions, so that we make it unique to our armed forces and to our nation. So I want to congratulate both parties. It's my desire that this will go successfully, fully completed, the benefit of the country as a whole. You know, Abuja, if you notice, Abuja, we don't have so many places for people to go to visit. Very, very few areas. So this will be part of it so that we can have other areas. And when people visit, they always look forward to going to visit our museum to see how we are. Because people have always imagined how is the armed forces doing. Despite all the challenges, we're still standing strong and we're still moving.
The museum, to be built on a 10-acre site, will feature multilingual, interactive exhibits, historic artifacts, and dedicated spaces to showcase Nigeria's peacekeeping missions and military achievements. Rear Admiral Olubankole, chairman of the steering committee, said the project will transform how Nigeria preserves its history.
Let's locate in this museum. We're going to look at all operations. We're going to get archives most time there. We'll try and do them. May I most respectfully on this invite the representative of the CDS and representative of Empower 54 African to proceed with the historic signing ceremony.
The project will be executed in 7 stages, with Empower 54 African Initiative chosen as a strategic partner after rigorous evaluation.
Seeing what was happening, we realized that it would be great for us to preserve that history in a way not told by anybody else, but by you, the armed forces of Nigeria. And I would like to thank the Chief of Defense Staff for his vision, his understanding, and great leadership, for seeing and buying into this, and his entire team for working with us to get to the point where we are today.
Organizers say the museum will attract local and international visitors while boosting Nigeria's image globally. When completed, the Armed Forces of Nigeria Museum will stand as a national landmark, preserving the sacrifices of those who served while inspiring future generations to uphold the ideals of courage and service. Olayemi Eson, Post Spy TV.